All right, so this is a video. If you just want the answers, I posted a document here that just has answers worked out, but I will walk you through everything here. So, for doing these types of problems, and there will be a fair number of these, the best thing to do is to just multiply everything on the top. So 15 times 8 times 5, and then multiply everything on the bottom, and then divide. So 7 times 3 times 16, and then divide the numbers. So I know a lot of you were putting in fractions because that's what they teach you at in math, and that's fine. But in chemistry, we prefer to have a decimal because we're usually weighing stuff out on a balance or whatever. So those top numbers multiplied are 600, and then 7 times 3 times 16, 336. So a lot of you were doing really good work with reducing that, and very impressive math stuff, which is good. But what we want you to do at this point in chemistry is just divide the 600 by the 336, so you get 1.7857. So I need a pen. I want a pen. So equals 1.7857. You could do 1.78, you could do 1.8, all that is fine. But we do like our decimals. You could have also just, I'm sure many of you realize this, but in case you're like, wait, I thought we can cancel things. You can absolutely cancel things. So the 8 would cancel with the 16, right? And that would become a 2, and that would become a 1. And the 3, whoops, the 3 would cancel with the 15, and that would become a 1, and that would become a 5. And you can still do the 5 times 1 times 5 divided by 7 times 1 times 2 and get the same answer. All right. Next one, we just kind of learned this, and we'll go over this a lot more, as it seems many of you hadn't seen it before. But when we have a number like this, since it's a negative exponent, I guess that's what I want to do. So since that's a negative exponent, that's telling us that this is going to be a fraction of a number. So it's going to start with 0 point something. And if we have 7.05 and we have to go 6 places, so we want to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that decimal is going to move 6 places. That's going to add us 5 zeros. So it's 0.1234575 is the answer for that. But you want a fractional number because that's a negative exponent. The next one is a positive number. So we're going to want a positive exponent. Okay. So this is a much greater than 10. So we're going to have a positive exponent when we're all done. So 94000, right? We want to move that decimal so that there's only one number to the left, one non-zero number to the left. So that's going to be right here. So we want to move it to there so that the only number to the left is at 9. And since that was 4 jumps, that would make this 9.4 times 10 to the power of positive 4. It's positive because it's a big number, much bigger than 1. So that's why we have it as positive 4. All right, this next one is solving for x. So we have 12x equals 74. Hopefully you remember, since this is, or I'll just write 75. Uh, you recall that since this is a multiplication, right? 12 is times x. The opposite of that is division. So we want to divide by 12 to get rid of 12. And then what we do to one side, we have to do the other. So we're going to get x is equal to 74 divided by 12, which again, as chemists, we like to do our divisions. So 74 divided by 12 is 6.16. You could say 6.17, 6.167, any of those is fine. We'll get into that a little bit here in a bit. But basically, we do like our decimals in chemistry. All right, solve for x in this case. You could have just done that division. So we have 36 divided by 4 equals 6x. You can just divide the 36 by 4, and that'll give you 9, right? So 9 equals 6x. That's an x. And then again, that's a multiplication. The opposite of multiplication is division. So we're going to divide the 6 on both sides. One will get rid of it there. The other will give us our answer. So the answer is 9 divided by 6 equals x, which is to say 1.5. As chemists, we would like that as opposed to the 3 halves. All right. So this one is, we'll do a little bit of this. This isn't really something we do much of. But if we have 14 red and we have 9 blue marbles and we have 19 green marbles, we're going to get the total. So we're going to add all those up. 14. So we're adding, by the way. There we go. All right. So 14 plus 9 plus 19. And that's going to give us 42 as our total. And to figure out the percentage of anything, we're going to take whatever that was. In this case, we're looking for red, right? Percentage of red. So we just want the 14, and we don't want to divide it by the total, which in this case is 42. And 14 divided by 42 gives you a decimal 0.333. And hopefully you learned at some point that for percentages, right, that's the same, that equals 33%. So you multiply that by 100% to get it to equal a percentage. So you could have put 33% or 33.3. I think I did ask for 2 digits. So 33 would have been good. Likewise, if we wanted to find, for example, the percent blue, this is just an aside, right? We would have taken the 9 and divided it by the total of 42. And that's how we would have gotten percent blue. So 9 divided by 42 is 0.214, which is 21.4%. Okay. If you get, I hate that we did this. Actually, I should have fixed that. Okay. So 6 oranges, that's a number. 6 produces 4 glasses of juice. So 6 oranges equals 4 glasses of juice. And the question is, if you have 15 oranges, how many juices are you going to get? So if I have 15 oranges, then how many glasses of juice do I get? All right. There's a couple ways to do this. We're going to teach you one way, equals how many glasses. Okay. The way we're going to teach you is you're going to start with this 15 oranges. And because these things are equal, we can use them as what we call we can use that as a conversion. So 6 oranges will cancel the oranges, and then the 4 glasses of juice is what those are equal to. So we'll have 4 glasses up here. And then we do the math that we were just seeing. So it's 15 times 4 divided by 6, which equals 60 divided by 6, which equals 10. All right, so that was one way to do it. The other way to do this is would be if you realized that this is sort of like 6 oranges is to 4 glasses, as 15 oranges is to x. So this was another way you could have done it, right? Is to x glasses. And then you could have done cross multiplication or the butterfly method, right? Where you multiply the 6 times the x. So you get 6x equals, and then you multiply the 15 times the 4, and you get 60. And then you divide both sides by 6. So that would have worked as well. All right. So this is a lot of what we're going to do. We're going to give you numbers that mean things. So here we're telling you the mass equals 10.5 grams. We're telling you the volume equals 2.80 milliliters. And if we define our density as mass over volume, we're hoping that you'll realize I can take my mass of 10.5 grams, right? So if it's mass over volume, then you can take what is the mass and divide it by what is the volume and get the answer. So 10.5 divided by, hold on a second, 10.5 divided by 2.8 equals 3.75. So that gives you, I'll do it in purple because now it's everybody's involved, 3.75. And the units would be grams divided by milliliters because you took grams and divided by milliliters. But basically we're looking for 3.75 there. So we'll be doing that next week, density. Determining the value of x, again, a butterfly method or cross multiplication. So we have 219 divided by 8 equals 17 divided by x. You can cross multiply, right? So the 219 times x is going to equal, and then 8 times 17, right? So 8 times 17 is, oops, 136. So 136 equals 219x. And then again, because this is a multiplication, you want to do a division, which is the opposite of multiplication. And what you do to one side, you do to the other. So x is going to equal 136 divided by 219, which is 0.621. And then another thing you can do, right, is substitute that in. So 219 divided by 8 is 27.375. So this equals 27.375, right? And then 17, oops, and 17 divided by 0.621 should also equal 27.375. So let me make sure, 0.621, 27.375. There you go. So you can check your work when you're done if you're not sure. All right. Another thing that we do, we'll give you an equation just like with the density and ask you to plug every one of these things in. So let's call our P 0.375 and then the V, right? So then it'll be multiplied by the V. So we're going to multiply that by 21.6. That's going to equal our N, and we're going to call our N 1.2, right? So we're using this equation here. So we have our P and our V. We have our N. Our R is given as 0.0821. And then we're looking for that T. So the thing we're looking for is the T, right? And that's the one we don't know. So we just substitute those numbers for every letter, and we'll be doing that a fair amount this year. And then you just multiply. So 0.375 times 21.6 is 8.1. So on this side, we have 8.1. And then 1.20 times 0.0821 is 0.09852 T. And then again, that's a multiplication, so we want to divide both sides by the 0.09852. So they cancel, and what you do to one side, you do the other. And then you get your T is equal to 82.2 ballpark. All right. Solving for x, multiplying your 2 times 1, that's 2. You're adding x. 4 times -2 is -8. And that's going to equal 0, right? So we have 2 minus 8. hopefully you realize that 2 minus 8, I'm just going to change colors there. So the 2 minus the 8 is -6. So you get x minus 6 equals 0. And then this is a subtraction. The opposite of that is addition. So we want to get the 6 on the other side by adding 6 to both sides, and we get x equals 6. All right. And then the last one, x over 5 equals 15. So since this is a division, we want to do the opposite of division, which is multiplication. So we want to multiply that by 5. And what we do to one side, we do to the other. And you get x is equal to, and 15 times 5 is 75. All right. There you go.